La 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 la. My name is Crispy Treats, and for the past 3 nights, I have been sleeping in a house with no heat and no electricity. Let me explain. So, it's the morning of January 29th, and I am down in the kitchen washing dishes. And as I'm washing dishes, I suddenly hear a noise. It's sounding like it's from inside the wall, and it sounds like a very fast skitter, like something suddenly falling or crawling. And the first thing I think is, oh no, we have something living inside the walls. But then I don't hear any other noises. It's a little bit weird. I kind of just forget about it. And after I finish washing dishes, I get ready for work and I leave. When I come back from work at about 6:30 p.m., I walk into the kitchen and there is a puddle on the counter of this mysterious yellow liquid that kind of looks like piss. And I start freaking the fuck out because the first thing I think in my head is that my roommate is gonna think I pissed on the counter. So I start panicking. I don't know what to do. I text my roommate right away. I send pictures. It's like, look, I just got home and I do not know what the fuck this is. I'm freaking out a little bit. I go to reach for a roll of paper towel that we have hanging from the cabinets in our kitchen. And the roll of paper towel is also soaked in this mysterious yellow liquid. And I am freaking out even more. Something or someone has pissed on our counter and pissed on the paper towel roll. This is what I'm thinking to myself. I try to do a little bit more investigation, and I start to notice from patterns on the counter of where the mystery piss has flown and where it's dried, it looks like it might be coming from inside the wall. At this point, I'm a little curious what exactly this is, if it is piss or not. I get a little bit close just to do a quick sniff test, and to me anyway, it doesn't smell like urine. It kind of smells like dead leaves, so that gets me thinking. So then I look to the backyard. We have a courtyard behind our house, shared with a couple other houses. It's like a townhouse kind of situation, you know? I go to the backyard and I look up on the wall, the side of the house, and I see vines, and the vines have like dead leaves and all this, and it's kind of a similar color. And I think to myself, okay, I see the vines up there and I see there's all this ice forming because it had just snowed a lot in the previous weeks. And this was like the first sunny day in a while. And so things on the roof were starting to melt and ice was forming, and it looked like it had formed over the vines. And so I figured, okay, it's trickling into the walls somewhere. Maybe this is what this is. Hopefully it's not an animal. Hopefully it's not piss, because I was very concerned. So I figure, okay, some kind of freak accident, whatever. Hopefully it doesn't happen again, but that's weird. So I take note of my findings and I submit a maintenance request thinking, okay, this shouldn't be a big deal. Next day comes. It's about noon, and I walk into the bathroom, which is directly above the kitchen on the next floor. And I hear from the window in the bathroom that water from the outside is absolutely pouring in somewhere. I can't see it, but it's pouring in somewhere, pouring in through some kind of unsealed opening around the window and pouring into the walls. I start panicking. I go downstairs to the kitchen, and there are bubbles filled with water forming on the wall and the ceiling. And it's dripping, and it's piss yellow. So it is indeed from the outside. It is indeed the melting snow and ice. And the color is from the vines on the side of the house. And it's not stopping at all. So I send another panicked message to the property management. I send another ticket in, and I hope for the best. I have to go to work, so I leave again. And when I return home, the window in the bathroom is sealed. The problem seems to have been addressed. And because of the water damage in the kitchen, we have a large hole cut in the wall and the ceiling. Fun times. Okay. Now, fast forward to this week, this past weekend here. It's late Saturday night, starting to curl over into Sunday. It's 1 a.m., so it's technically Sunday. I had just uploaded my last video to this channel. At about 1 a.m., suddenly, without warning, all of the lights and all the power just stops. Everything is gone immediately. I go down to the basement and I check the breaker and everything is fine, nothing is tripped. And I step outside the house to look down the road and see if anyone else has lost power. And I see some of my neighbors, a couple doors down, are also outside. So I call out to them, "Hey, did you lose power as well?" And he says, "No, we're fine, but we heard some kind of loud noise." I turn my head down the sidewalk towards them. I look over at the wall, and what I find is that a large piece of ice had fallen from the roof and smashed our power meter. Completely smashed it. It ejected itself from the side of the house, from its casing, and was just laying on the sidewalk in pieces. So, without really any idea of what to do in that situation, I go back inside, I text the property manager, and then he tells me to contact the power company in the morning. So I do. And they send somebody out while I'm at work, and they pick the power meter off the sidewalk and didn't do anything. And then I get a voicemail, or my roommate gets a voicemail first and then passes the message along to me. They didn't fix it because the box that the meter goes inside of is broken and needs to be replaced, and it has to be inspected by the city before they will restore power. That sucks. I contact the property manager and I tell them all of this information, and he's equally as pissed off as I am. He gets an electrician out first thing the next morning. The electrician comes out, replaces the box, and it's President's Day. Technically, it's a holiday for a lot of offices in the city, but he pulls some strings and gets a guy to come out and inspect it, and he inspects it and approves it. This is at about 2 p.m. He sends his approval to the power company to let them know they can come back and put the meter back in. Why am I getting a message right now? Whatever office his approval goes to does not process it. Normally they're open till at least 3 p.m., but because they have an inordinate amount of power emergencies, they stop processing it before it comes through. So then I go another night without power, and I'm up in the attic, and it's fucking freezing because there's no heat either. So then finally this morning, I call again and I say, "Hey, what's the deal, you know?" And they finally have received the approval from the city, and they tell me that they're gonna come and put the meter back in. So I go to work, I come back home, and the meter is still not installed. There's a plastic cover over the box that it goes inside of, and there's no meter. So I call the power company again, and I am very pissed off. And finally, after I have to explain the whole thing again, that they have the approval, it's in their system, why the fuck did they send someone out without a meter? And they just left this shit the way it was. And finally they send someone out and they replace the meter tonight. And finally I have power again after sleeping without any heat and without any lights or anything else for 3 nights, all because of the ice. That's how the weekend went for me. That's the story of the mystery piss and the falling ice. Yeah, that's about it. My name is Crispy Treats. Thanks for listening.
Show them your boobs!